I have 6:30. I call this meeting of the General Government and Public Safety Committee to order. Attendance taken. Flags, Don.
Let me go get the flag.
Alderman Magley?
No, I'm just thinking, have you taken attendance yet?
Oh, yeah.
But we're missing a flag.
Yeah.
Is that where she's looking?
Yeah.
That's what I can do.
There's one down the street.
What?
Back of the precinct.
I told him that. There you go.
Yes, sir. Well, if you rise, please recite the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Comments from citizens. Hearing none, moving on to public safety. Police Department activity reports in your packet. Bob, is there anything you want to point out?
Not on that, no.
I do like the summary of offenses, that report, with the up-downs. Show trend.
Well, and it's
Right now,
it's kind
right now,
of, it's kind of
everything's up.
deceiving right now, because like I said, we didn't have it last year this time, so it's kind of deceiving.
Any questions on the activity report? Moving on to other, the chief of police monthly reports in your packet. What was your radio interview on?
They were talking about a lot of different things. Defunding the police came up to be one of them, but, and then, a lot of it is how has COVID-19 affected SROs, which we didn't know the answer to that yet. And, you know, it was actually fairly good, and it was just I don't remember what he calls it now, it's a Saturday morning thing that they do every Saturday morning, so. Actually turned out pretty good. Go listen to it, it's on KXE's website.
Any comments on the report? Moving on to speed limit study, 600 block of East Lakewood. Lakeview, sorry, sorry.
Are there any questions about that whole report that you've got? Because there's a lot of information on both of those. That was, thank you to Boone County Sheriff's Department, they've got a radar trailer that actually records, and you can actually print all these reports off of it. They came up and set at 2 different spots for almost a week. I think the surprise was, that, you know, Jefferson does have a small speeding problem certain times of the day. Lakeview, you can see the numbers there.
2%, is that what it's saying? It looks like about 2%
Yeah,
of all.
98, almost 98, or a little over 98% were doing the speed limit or below.
Okay.
Yeah, out of 5,700 and some cars.
Okay.
You know, so.
And Jefferson's got a much bigger problem.
Well, it's not huge though. It's, you have to understand, when it says violations, he set that as a mile an hour over being a violation. So if you go down through the graphs and everything else, you see there are, and it looks like early morning hours and evening time, sometime after 5 or after. So that's your problem times.
If you look at the pie chart and exclude the ones that are within 5 miles, it's still about 25% or over.
Right, and we've been addressing it, or attempting to address it, and I even tried to address it last week, and, you know, they called off on something else, but, we haven't had a whole lot of, I don't know,
I like
volunteers.
the glaring thing is the violations count. It's from 2% to 55 is.
And like I said,
Every person knows
Jefferson
speed.
is definitely a hotter spot, but the thing is too, you have to understand something, is most people, most agencies pretty much all of them I know, they're not gonna stop anybody for their 8 mile an hour over speeding.
Understood.
So, I mean,
Well, that area tends itself because you're coming in town or starting to go out of town.
right, and I sat up there for about an hour last Friday morning, the highest speed ahead was 37. So, I mean, I'm sitting there in that gray truck that nobody knows is a cop, so,
Would you expect these numbers to increase when school starts?
yes. I believe Lakeview numbers will increase exceedingly, they do, we know that. And Davenport's been hot and heavy on that during the school year, of course, you know, we haven't had to have that problem. But yeah, the numbers do increase drastically with school starts.
Any other comments? Presentation of police cadet program by Officer Baker.
Promised myself I would keep this short, at least nothing more than 30 minutes.
The copy you all have in front of you that's separate from your packet is an updated copy that Officer Baker brought into the office today. There were some edits.
Let's go to the one with the, I'm just trying to stay on the same page as you all. I'm gonna dip into the, let's go to the policy handbook. It's got the big badge on it, yes. So the purpose of the cadet program, I actually started out as a cadet when I was in high school. I did that for a while. I knew I wanted to get into law enforcement, and that was a good in for me, kind of give me an idea of what I wanted to do, what I needed to look forward to, kind of get some, I would say, hands-on experience. It helped me out and guided me out, I want to say, in the right direction. It kept me out of trouble, too, so that's good. I do notice driving around quite a bit and talking to kids and going on the square. The big issue is we have a lot of kids in this community, and there's not a lot of things for them to do, especially now that the pool's closed. We're having to run them out of the pond because they can't fish or swim in those, it seems like on a daily basis. So I figured if we have something for them to do to keep them out of trouble, that'll definitely help us out, because that's less workload that are on patrol officers and we're responding to calls. The ages are for 14 through 21. There is 2 phases. For 14 to 16, they will not be able to do any type of ride-along, have any contact with prisoners. It all breaks it down there in the table of contents. If you have any questions, you might be able to follow off of that. Heather and I believe Sydney has looked over this and have made some corrections there. It follows our current policy that we have in place with the police department. A lot of that mirrors other agencies like Audrain. They have a cadet program, and I pulled a big part of that policy, the policy from the St. Louis County Police Department. So try to follow off with that. But like I said, the phases in page, I believe it's 12 and 13 of that handbook. There is a structure of what I believe is 24 hours of police training, whether that's basic law, whether it be constitutional law, statutory law, traffic enforcement, and the list goes on in that 24 hours. The cadets will have either a 1 or 2 days a month that they'll have to attend these trainings. And then hopefully the point is I'm working with Back to Blue on trying to get a sponsorship from them for like a police or law enforcement scholarship that we could apply maybe $500 to $1,000, donate it to that candidate that's in the program. So kind of an incentive to be in the program. They have to stay in the program. They also have to have a 2.0 GPA within good standing in the community, whether it be the community or the school district. They're gonna be held to the same standards as we are as police officers. They're gonna be structured like the police department, down to even issuing them badge numbers per se, just to kind of get like a structure of a police department, to kind of get them ready for. It's intended for kids who want to do law enforcement, so if we can get them ready for that, that could possibly in the future, years from now, help us with recruitment of officers and retention of officers. And the main purpose of that, trying to just hit the big highlights. Of course, like I said, background process, background checks will be all done by the police department. Ride-alongs, our current policy sits now for the police department, they cannot ride along with an officer unless they're over the age of 18 years old. However, in that phase, I believe it's what changed in, well, this one says 19, Heather, I don't know if that is correct. I don't know if that was even a correction that you made. Is your all, it's on,
What page you on?
well, so after, I believe it's page 2. Mine is not marked like girls.
19 to 20 years of age.
Yeah, I believe that should say, with the initial one I presented was 17. Do you remember making a correction in that?
There's a gap, because if phase 1 says 14 to 17, phase 2 is 19 to 20.
Maybe, so we'll have to change that.
18, yeah, 18. Yes. I have to look into that part. I don't know why that correction, yeah, I missed that one. But anyway, they'll be able to do a ride along with us, kind of gives them more access to kind of what we're doing and get a better grasp of what we do. If you're familiar with Anchorfest, obviously, as we all are, the Boone County Sheriff's Office does an Explorer program, which has worked out well for them. They have a lot of participation in that, as you all probably saw in the last couple of years, the amount of explorers they have in that. Davenport, our school resource officer, said that there seems to be a lot of kids in the school district that want to do that or are interested in that program. However, their parents do not want to have to drive them back and forth to the sheriff's office because that's putting, I would say, their normal routine off. So if we can offer that to them here, that will probably be better. Application process. There's also an application in there I provided. I pulled that directly from the Audrain Sheriff's Office. As I said, they have a program, and I've mirrored a lot of their policy. Down to even the liability form, the city should be in there towards the bottom. And as far as insurance, because I'm sure everybody has a question on insurance. So we found out from Angels that the city would not cover liability. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Mopar said no.
Okay.
This would not be covered under our insurance.
So then I was like, oh crap, that sucks. But it kind of put a wrench in the process. So I did a lot of digging. I don't know if you all know Rob Townsend. He's the director of the Boy Scouts of America. He actually threw me a bone on that. Didn't even know if he could help me, but he actually was the person I needed to talk to. He's given me all the information I need as far as this goes. The Scouts of America has what we call an exploring program, and they basically offer liability insurance. The sheriff's offices went through it. A lot of other organizations have done this for either fire department, specifically Holt Summit. They've gone through that. It will provide anywhere from $1 million to well over $20 million in liability coverage. So basically, if we have something like Anchorfest, well, there's a higher probability that potentially an explorer could get hurt. We could call the insurance company and say, hey, we have this special event. We need to up our liability insurance. They'll jack it up, no additional cost to us. As far as the cost of the liability insurance, I don't know how much the extra liability would have cost through MoPerm. That was never something we checked into. I mean, I'm sure this is probably substantially cheaper than what that would have costed. There is an expenditure sheet that should be in the staple packet I provided. Should be page 1, I believe. Yes, that one right there. The expenditure sheet breaks it all down. So as part of this, for Scouts of America, they require you to have 4 adult members. That's a chairman, a vice chairman, a secretary, and a member. Those are required to have per their agreement we would sign, and those are $30 per additional adult member. And then it is $42 per cadet participant. You'll see on there that there's only 6. You're only going to allow 6 as a coordinator. I don't want to be overwhelmed with a bunch of kids. That's why we're kind of structuring it like a police department, because we're probably going to have issues going into this. We'll probably have troubles with some kids. They may not be able to stay in there. But for now, 6 is a good number for me. And then the $75 is an annual charter fee that goes towards helping these small departments out with the liability insurance, because they help thousands and thousands of agencies across the United States. So that kind of helps with their fees. Now, the one where it says add 25, if, let's say this didn't get approved by council and we needed to rediscuss, there would be an additional $25 fee past August 1st. They have basically updated their procedure that anything after August 1st should be required a $25 new member fee. That's just a one-time fee. The cost of that, without the additional $25, would be $447. The cost, if we waited until after August 1st, would make it go up $25, making it $472. My recommendation to Heather and the chief was it last year or this year we added the community? This year we added the community policing budget, which I believe it's actually under neighborhood watch,
It is.
the actual wording of it. So my request is if we could use it for that specifically. I think that'll definitely help our police department out tremendously, and it'll help this town out tremendously as well. That's my request of how to pay for the program itself. And that is annual. I believe it is, it's not on your sheets. Yes, it's on the second one. It looks like something that was pulled off the internet. It's got a source at the top on that same page. Yes. All this information that I've given you today can also be found on this website. If you all wanted more information to find it, I tried to provide the most important details, and it also shows in there that the annual renewal fee is due in October 1st, so I'm assuming it would be October 1st of 2021. The Evanston Insurance Company is, I believe, something that Heather would only need. That's just for insurance purposes, where we basically, if this program was to get approved, the city could make a check out to Scouts of America, and then this would be filled out just as the insurance, and then as soon as we make the payment, we're covered under liability insurance immediately. And also in the policy, there was a stipulation made by Heather, which I think was a great idea that she caught that. I will also release a monthly report, which will go to her, which in return, I believe, goes to council, is how that policy says. So you'll be able to track kind of what we're doing and the progress we're making. Do y'all have any questions? I feel like I've just been rambling up here.
Do you anticipate that the implementation of this program would cause any additional overtime for you and the police
Oh,
department?
absolutely not. We'll definitely not have any overtime. It'll be on my scheduled time that I work. All the cadets will actually report directly to me. If they want to do a ride-along, any training will be done when I'm working. So that should not be an issue whatsoever. Eventually, the only added cost that I would say, maybe, I don't even want to say anytime this year, we would eventually like to get some polos made. I want something that specifically says that they are cadets, they are not law enforcement officers. I think that opens up a whole nother can of worms that I don't even want to get into. So I think it's right now what we're gonna do is we've got a ID card printer. We're gonna get some lanyards or something that says cadet on it, and they will be wearing something different than us. They will have what I say is a uniform policy of blue jeans and black duty boots and a polo of some color. We haven't decided on the color yet, but they will be uniform, so we'll be able to identify who they are. Under no circumstances are they allowed to operate a city vehicle, unless of course there's an unusual situation to where if I'm injured and I can't call for backup, or I would much rather the cadet drive off and leave instead of putting himself in harm's way. Any questions? Come on, you got them wrong.
The budget for, that we have for this year is $1,000 in our community policing neighborhood figure, and we haven't spent anything out of that to date.
Let me ask a quick question here. As far as the insurance goes, Boy Scouts of America program, if you're talking about the cadetting through there, is that what this fee is, as we talk about the $75 annual charter fee and those fees, is that helping pay that policy?
Yes.
Is that correct? It's kind of like,
Well,
to get it through or what?
it's essentially helping them. They're helping us out tremendously by saving the city. I can only imagine how much money that liability insurance would cost the city. It's basically, what if it says in there? I know I saw.
So this would be tagging onto an insurance policy?
I knew you would ask that question.
I mean, I'm just trying to find out.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
Based on the, based on the certificate of liability insurance, yeah, we would be tagged on to their insurance.
that's what I
Yes,
want to make
yes.
sure.
I wrote these down again.
Yeah, I do too, that's why I was asking to make sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that answers it for me. I thought, that's what I assumed all the way through, when you got to it, and I seen the certificate, so, yeah, makes sense.
I know we had a cadet program for the fire department. I don't know how long ago that was. I don't know how active it was, and I don't know how.
Do we have that
We use
before
the Boy Scouts of America. I've used that.
as well? Good, okay, good.
So we don't have to make a decision on this tonight. If this is something that you all would want to go forward with, we would have to adopt a formal resolution, policy resolution. And we could have that ready as soon as Monday, the 20th, if this is something you all want to move forward on. Wait and then think about it, whatever.
Any questions you have, I'll give you my email. Just email me if you have another question. I can happily find an answer for you. Rob Townsend was gonna try to be here tonight, but he's on vacation, and I didn't want to interrupt the vacation. So he said he would be more than happy to come here and discuss any insurance questions if that's an issue.
What would the structure of the council, the membership look like? So are you saying, this council membership on here, would that be like your coordinator, your commander, and those people?
Yes.
Or is it gonna have, are you having?
They have,
Committee stuff?
another good question. They basically have a chairman as basically somebody that's overseeing the operation, as well as a vice chairman. They also have a secretary, which in this purpose, I don't understand why you really need a secretary, because I guess there's no funds being funneled through. But that's just how they have it structured. The way Rob explained it, you can pretty much add whoever you want. It could be another member. Typically, people just go to a secretary, and then a member being a coordinator. Coordinator basically being me, coordinating the operations, recruiting the cadets, all the way down to the training of the cadets and right along to the cadets. Anything involving them, which I would then report to the vice chairman. And then it kind of goes back to you and then the council getting our reports.
Is that what you have laid out on the second page?
Yes, there is, it's labeled there, and right above it. I basically broke that down into command, let me walk around this one. As this one is the, so the way the policy reads, and I know it's kind of confusing, I had to explain it to Heather. The way the policy read, because it came from St. Louis County Police Department. So the commander is basically your chairperson. Your assistant commander would be our lieutenant, or vice chairman, and then the coordinator being me or the member. So I tried to break it down into simple terms to where somebody that's 14 or maybe just a little bit older can kind of explain, get a better understanding of it, I should say.
Any other questions?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for putting all this together.
Yeah, took some time, but it's worth it.
So are we gonna draw something up on this one?
I actually have already started, so if that's something you all want me to proceed with, I can
Yeah.
have it ready for Monday.
Yes.
Do we have an idea of initial cost?
The $472 is what it looks like only. For the, we already have all of the supplies to make, name badges, and we already have lanyards, I even believe. The only additional cost would be, is for the polos, but I think it's very important that they are significantly different,
And that would be for the cadets?
right, and I would say you're looking at maybe $100 more, but I think that you're gonna be within your budget.
I'd buy those if we end up doing this, I'd buy that myself. Go with it.
I know the Explorer program, they wear bright yellow.
Right,
You
and
see
we're
them
bright
in-
yellow, it's designated on the back end of Explorer, in this case it would be Cadet. And like I said, the fact is it's a help to us, it's a no-cost help to us. And, you know, I talked to Davenport about this, and he named 4 kids right on top of his head that had already expressed an interest in something like this, but they had no way to do it. So the fact is, I mean, the interest is there. I think it's a good thing, and, I told Logan I'd help him. So, it won't be any overtime in my spot, so.
You have line here.
Oh, yeah, I got all that. All I gotta do is design it and do it.
Anything else? Moving on to fire department, activity reports in your packet. It's page 54 of the PDF. Did you point out anything?
Nothing interesting. I mean, it's not.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, Denny.
Yeah, it's good, they'll do so that's good.
That's the good, I mean, it's not interesting. I mean, nothing's really going wrong, I mean, everything's running right and this and that, so.
Knock on wood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
Hey, tremendous fireworks on the board. Great job.
Yes.
We'll talk about that a little later.
Hey, they look good from where I was sitting.
I was just gonna ask how'd it go from your end.
Sucks.
Okay.
It's getting harder and harder to find guys that don't wanna be with their families and stuff like that to shoot them off. So I mean, you get a little short-handed back there in the background.
Hey, I'll come help you.
Huh?
I'll come help you.
I'll just turn over your department.
Can I have Donnie though?
Nope, you don't need Donnie.
Can I have some license
No,
though?
you don't.
Okay,
We're a city entity, we don't have to have.
I don't have enough. We'll talk about that.
Say, wow, it's a
Just got some cadets signed up, looks like he's got on.
Oh, that helped. There's a difference between taking you over and helping you.
If you had fire cadets, could they help with that? If they had the proper training?
You gotta realize the 4th of July is a holiday.
I know.
A lot of people, especially when it's on a weekend, you know, they're gone and stuff like that. And that's just the way it is. I mean, just,
Denny, you've said this for years.
I know. But I'm working on another way, maybe it'll work out easier though.
Turn it
You're
over
gonna
to somebody
enlighten us
else.
later, right?
Huh?
Are you gonna enlighten us later about it?
Not that, I'm working on it, I'm still working on it.
Oh,
We
okay.
got till next
I thought we
year.
had a big
No, we got till
discovery
next
coming
year.
in. Exciting. You said there's nothing going on now.
Exactly.
Okay.
There might be an easier way to do this.
Okay.
Alrighty. Any other for the fire department? Questions, comments? Moving on, emergency management.
I did give you all a printout. I haven't had a chance to get all the way through it yet, but it is the release of the Boone County Long-Term Recovery Plan. Committees have been meeting via Zoom to figure out what we do after COVID. So for your reading, and to be honest, I just got it today, so I haven't had a chance to go through the whole thing yet either.
A protective inspection? Nothing? Moving on to general government, economic development. I don't see a report from the chamber. Maybe one.
Have you been having meetings?
No.
Okay. I didn't know, I was just curious.
Park board, that agenda's in your packet. And the meeting minutes. Questions or comments? Cemetery report, none? Same way with the tree board,
Correct.
library board? Any questions or comments?
I don't know if we'll get it, right away. But the library that I inquired about how much was left in the library debt service fund, which was, an additional caps that ended several years ago. But we still get money trickling in little by little, and we have to keep that account open indefinitely. Anyway, they have about $4,200 still in there, and they'd asked about that for some projects. So they have to bring a request to the board, but it really is the library's money, so, once they have that request, I'll let you know.
Okay.
It'll be in the
They gotta
packet,
They gotta keep a little bit in there to keep it open, but
yeah.
Bills over $1,250.
I did notice that Danes was a little high this month compared to last.
I would have to look at it, it could just be additional trash pickup, extra items, things like that. We do bill out for those things, but, I'd have to look to see exactly what it is.
Was it part of the spring cleanup? Do they do that?
They do, but
Wouldn't
that was in April.
No, you pushed it back, didn't you?
It was in
First
May.
weekend of June, in May,
Oh.
June.
Then yes, that would have
That's
been.
probably,
spring.
there'll be a lot,
I bet
of-
that
Yeah,
would be.
it
You're
was the
a lot of
weekend
times.
Anchor Fest would have been.
yeah,
there'll be a lot of times there.
right.
yeah.
Any other questions? Any other general government? Moving on to discussion regarding firework regulations for the city of Centralia. Here's that memo that you wrote, Heather.
So really just want, in the memo, I just wanted to point out that we have the ability as fourth class city to set our own rules and regulations for fireworks in the city. The question we have is, we want to change our ordinance to allow for setting off aerials on the 4th of July or around the 4th of July, or even, we allow people to set off fireworks the 1st to the 4th. Do we want to change that so people can set off bigger fireworks? Because I feel like the police department runs ragged around the 4th.
Agreed.
And they have never, to my knowledge, written a ticket for fireworks.
I asked for one.
Yeah, the mayor did ask,
They didn't
just to
have-
clarify, the mayor did ask for one.
They
Oh, I said I'd be glad to pay fines if you go to the mayor.
I was gonna say, I've heard that you have a very good insight.
He has I'm gonna pay that.
The only problem would be if it's in dry conditions or something.
Well, how it was in the past, you could shoot fireworks growing up here and everything, but if you were in a drought, the fire marshal had a right to say that the
Yeah.
fire department, that it was, you remember that, Danny? back
That's
in-
just like any other red flag.
Yeah, you can't-
That'd be the only
You
restriction.
can't fire it, and you still want to have special circumstances for graduation or something, we would have, those be one off, but I think it's more about setting a time that's reasonable, thinking about considering setting a time that's reasonable for 2-3 days, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be as soon as they start selling fireworks. 3rd, 4th, 1st through the 4th, whatever. I think it needs to be consistent, because I think if you say aerials and then you start to divide out what those aerials are, I think you and the police department are gonna have a heck of a time distinguishing.
It's gonna be worse than what it is
Because
now.
that was a bottle rocket, it
Right.
wasn't a bottle rocket, but
Right.
it was a bomb. I mean,
Most fireworks are aerials.
yes,
But the good ones.
Well, most all,
All of them.
snake or something.
And just so you know, the mayor and Heather and I both had this conversation, and the fact is the police department has no problem with this. Now, I'm gonna defer to Denny on this, because I believe, when I was talking to Mayor the other day, I don't know that we've ever had a fire-related fireworks during the 1st of the 4th.
Yeah.
We have?
Yeah.
Tree fires and stuff like that.
Oh, well, okay, all right, let me rephrase, structures.
Not a structure.
So, is there danger? Maybe, but.
Well, I think it boils down, I think
But
the
again-
danger lies in how people are shooting them off and where they're shooting.
Right,
them.
and the thing is,
I mean,
it's still, it doesn't bother us, the fact is, because the fact is, my call bill's gonna go way down. And okay, we're just gonna keep everybody safe as we can. So, I mean, because they run left and right all over the place Yeah. Time-wise, where we're at now, I think it's first and the fourth currently. It's fine. I mean, that doesn't bother us at all. The only thing I look at changing would be the aerial portion of it, and we're okay with the rest of it.
And that simplifies your job, doesn't it,
Very much
in those days?
Very much so.
I mean, you don't wanna change the time, you know, maybe from.
I'd say by 10:30, they were.
Well, I'm talking about starting.
Well, I think it runs, doesn't it, Heather, isn't it currently 7 AM or something like that?
I think, are you looking it up?
7 AM in the morning.
Yeah.
So change
7 to
it.
11.
8 AM to 10 PM.
Change it to 4.
8 AM to 10.
I pulled it up on the fourth, as I was sitting at my friend's house, it was preaching up on 10 o'clock, and I thought it ended at 10, so.
Okay, well, I couldn't
It does.
remember.
And some other cities do allow on the 4th of July to go till midnight. I don't know if you wanna go that way.
When listening that night,
That'd be a little
on
long.
the 4th of July night, and listening, it sounded like a war zone up to that point.
Yeah, well, people were trying to get done by 10, and people,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
kept going probably for another half an
But
hour.
I think it was done by 10:30. I think anything that was going on was out of the city limits probably. I mean,
I would say my area is about 10:30, a little after it was done.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that most people have, like in my yard, is everybody's crap that flies into your yard and then you have to clean it out.
Well, I understand that too.
But I mean, that's nothing we can enforce,
Right.
you know, but that was the biggest problem, and some of those empty lots behind us have got some big, things out there sitting yet that nobody bothered to clean up.
We could do it, and then if it gets out of hand, we can undo it.
Well, I think it's,
I mean, they're shooting them off anyways, the ordinance says you can't, so you might as well let them shoot them off.
And
I don't disagree.
I mean, they're doing it anyways.
it drives you all crazy.
Give them a couple days and let them.
Give them from the 3rd to the 4th until 11:30, 11 o'clock at night, and let them be happy.
Maybe go one more day, the 5th.
The 5th.
And the only reason I say that is I know there were people who were trying to cram them out because they knew 10 o'clock, that was it.
You make it 11:30.
I don't think people enjoyed them as much as they might have if they had a little more time.
I don't think they have to go that late. I mean, I think if you're planning, because when they got done with the fireworks display, it was about 9:40, if I'm correct.
Correct.
So I was checking all this out, don't think I was, to see what was going on, so I could speak legibly about it, but, so at 9:40, you know, if you do it to 11, that gives you an hour and 20 minutes to shoot the fireworks off afterwards on the 4th of July. I wouldn't be in favor of doing anything past 11 o'clock at night, because I think if you know what the play rules are, black and white for you to enforce them, to say, if you show up at 11:10, somebody shoot them off, it's done, it's posted.
Right.
You know, we even talked about maybe where people sell fireworks, them to post the regulations of shooting them off within the city limits of Centralia. Having it there on a placard that says, these are the rules that will be enforced, you know. It makes it more black and white for you to be able to.
Right, well, and that's the thing about it, I mean, with social media, the way it is, and our websites and this and that and everything else, it's not hard to get your information out there. James would be of assistance in that too, so I mean.
Sure,
I mean, it is black and white right now, but people aren't adhering to it.
absolutely not.
I can't write all those tickets.
I wouldn't want to.
So, I mean,
So, what if we had the same problem where they're shooting them off past 11?
Well, and the same thing is though, basing it on what we discovered on the 4th, I mean, like I said, 10:30-ish, I heard a few after 10:30, but very few. So, and 11 o'clock is black and white, sorry. I had one last year that was shooting off at 12:02. You just have to look across the road for me. Didn't work out so well.
I don't care what time, as long as we enforce it.
Well, no,
I don't wanna make a
my
time
point
if
is,
we're
I
not
think at
enforcing.
that point, you, from your standpoint, you go over, it's 11:15, it's not 11:01 or 2.
Right, and you've given them
And
the
then
ability to
we
do it in
publicize the
town.
change, and then if they haven't, you write them a change.
Right, and then, yeah, I think you're gonna have a lot.
You won't have very many of them, but I
No, you
mean,
won't have very many. At all.
but you can't, when there's 100 people shooting them off, you ain't got no time to run where they're yonder. I mean, it just gets crazy to me.
So if we make changes, I just wanna make sure I get this all in there. They are allowed to shoot them off, unless there's a red flag warning or,
Fire, do the
Fire
fire
hazard.
marshal, who sets that usually?
Usually comes through Boone County, right?
Okay.
Okay.
The Boone County order of no, of a fire hazard, then you can't shoot at all.
Right, I think there are certain fireworks that are maybe illegal by the state. I think we should still say that those are not legal.
It'd be what, commercially available or whatever, I think's the way they word it.
Okay. Do you wanna extend the dates from the 1st to the 4th to the 1st to the 5th?
Well, I mean, if it rained on Fourth of July and it knocks the party, that would be, the next day would help that, but then,
How long do you wanna get with this thing?
Don't
I mean,
rain,
it's
that's
not
about
for
something.
people that
I don't know.
don't like it, you know what
If
I'm
we're
saying?
gonna,
You gotta kinda find the middle
I'm
ground.
of the mind of
There's
one
some
or
people
the
that
other.
like them, you know?
We
I
either
mean,
go an hour later or we add an extra day so people have that extra, I don't know if I would do both.
Okay.
2 days is plenty.
So the 1st to the 4th, that's what we currently have, is 1st to the 4th. And then 8 AM to 11 PM.
What about the people that work the next day, though?
Exactly.
Why would you do 8 AM?
8 AM.
That's just what it says right now.
So you can light your snakes off and not get in trouble for it.
Say 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Throw your little poppers down there.
We could say noon, or 10 AM, or,
They start shooting them off at 6
so
AM.
that makes any
Yeah, we'll
difference.
get them.
I don't know that I heard a lot go off at 8 AM anyway, but that's just what it says, yeah.
So you're doing from the 1st through the 4th, you can shoot them off from 8 AM to 11.
Yep.
Or we do another day and keep it at 10 or 10:30.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's-
Because the people that work the next
And
day.
I don't have a problem with that compromise at 10:30 because you've got you've got plenty of time to shoot fireworks off at home if you want to, you know, after this big show that they did a great job of putting on. I'm glad that they do it and continue to do it.
It's buttering you up for next year. You know?
That being said, I agree with you. I think you gotta find that mode where people do work, but they just don't like them. They want to get settled down so they can get the rest. Some people are,
Some people like to shoot fireworks off, don't they?
I love it, baby. Don't think I don't. You can put that in the paper, but it's not about me. It's about finding the middle ground and doing something that's over there that makes sense for everybody. For the police department, who might be going crazy, as well as those people that do want to work and that kind of thing. And I don't think you should shoot them for a week, but I mean, I don't know, maybe the 3rd through the 5th or something. I don't know. Whatever you all. I'm just saying. I think we ought to put something that can be enforceable. If it's 11, if it's 10:30, 10:40. You can go over and you can tell them you can't shoot fireworks. And this is
Should we
it.
say 10:30 then, instead of 11?
3rd through the 5th till 10:30.
Well, see, the 4th will be on Sunday next
The
year.
3rd through the 5th?
The fire department is still up, so you're good till 11.
It takes them an
I
hour
don't
to
really,
clean up
you know what,
back here.
Danny, that's a relief. I'm glad you told us that.
See, your fifth's gonna be on Monday. And
That's
everybody's gonna be
Sunday.
back to
Next year.
work. Cause this shit was Friday was the day before the 4th and Saturday was the 4th. So next year Sunday be the 4th, and then Monday night, people will start shooting fireworks if you let them have an extra
And
day.
then the next year it'll be on Tuesday.
And that
It's
was,
gonna move. It's gonna be through the whole week.
You're not
What
gonna
will be the
stop.
next year?
I can't go after that.
Or
But
we just leave it as it is.
most companies let you people off the day before the 4th, right? Isn't that how it works?
It all depends on where it falls in the week.
Yeah, I know, that's the whole thing.
Take a vote on it.
Do what?
Vote on it. If you want an extra day, raise your hand if you want an extra day, then you can count and ta-da.
Matt wants to move on,
Yeah,
can you tell?
I just
Golly.
need to be able to put the ordinance together. So, would you rather have an extra day and leave the times 8 AM to 10 PM?
Well, if you give them an extra day, then you need to enforce it.
We're voting.
You
I need
need
you
to
to vote.
enforce it on the 4th.
They will.
I'm
So,
fine.
Enforce
the
what on
1st
the
to the
4th?
4th,
The
8 AM
4th
to
day.
11 PM.
Oh, so the 6th.
That's what I like.
That's 1, 2, I got 2.
What is it? What was
The
that?
1st through the 4th, like it is now, 8 AM to 11 PM.
It's, now it's 8 to 11.
It's
No, it's 8 to 10 now. So this would be adding an extra hour.
With no
Yes.
aerials. Now we're.
No, yes. Is that your vote? You just raise your hand.
Just leave
1,
it
2,
and
3.
just add aerials.
Do you want to leave that?
Yeah, just to add arrows,
Just leave it
leave it
the
like
way
it
it
is, but
is
add
and add
arrows, you can
arrows.
shoot anything between those times, as long as they're
8
legal.
to 10, 8 AM to 10 PM.
I don't see how Bob's team
Bob
can
would do it.
actually, enforce that.
Well, I
Because they're
think-
doing it now, and they can't enforce it.
Correct.
Right.
10:30?
Well, we're adding arrows.
Do I hear?
We're adding your,
I think
That's
that
gonna make it better on those
in
guys.
whole
That's the
hours,
problem
it's
they have.
easier to,
Yeah.
it's easier for everybody to remember if it's 10 or 11. 10:30's gonna lose.
Alright, okay.
I know it was a little after 10:30 in my neighborhood before it quieted down, because we were out in the backyard
I mean,
just watching them.
Are we hurting anything? I know there'll be some people who get up early. Are you hurting a whole lot by moving it to 1 hour, moving it 1 hour later? And,
I don't have children and I don't
Yeah.
work them.
No, I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
But there are a
But
lot of
think
people
about
that do have to work the next day.
And have children that they have to get up and.
I mean.
Yeah, it's life, you're right.
Never gonna please people, man. Never. You can quit shooting them off at 7, somebody's gonna complain because they go to bed at 6:45.
Alright.
Yeah.
6:10.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
That's what I can do.
So, are there
So
any?
it's still 11, right?
So what did you
It's
do?
gonna be 11.
Now, yeah.
Right now it's 10,
It's gonna be
but we're gonna
11.
change it to 11.
Same number of days?
Yes.
Any as may arise?
Did you get all that down? Be a lot of backspacing over there.
I would
are we
welcome.
planning on doing anything on the speed limit since we have surveys?
If you all would like a ordinance to reduce speed limits, I can do that. It's the same. I have talked to someone in the neighborhood over on Lakeview that was interested in getting a petition together. He thought that he could get everyone along that area to sign it, to ask for that speed limit to be lowered.
But presently what now?
30,
25?
whatever you all like. We were just asking for it to be the same as everything else in town. just so-
We've only got a handful of streets that are not 25.
Okay, so I'm just saying, we're talking about 5 mile an hour potentially.
That include Jefferson Street too.
If you want to.
So what streets are not 25, other than the 20 school zones?
Lakeview, you have Jefferson, Gano,
Lakeview.
a little bit into Singleton and Switzerland. I think is it.
And what are they?
There's 30.
30.
Yeah,
Switzerland, I think it's 30.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think they're all 30. No, Gano's 35. Is it 30? Yeah. It's 35, yeah. Which is getting a more and more developed area out there, which you may want to slowing that down one day, anyhow.
Lakeview, Jefferson, Switzerland, and Gano.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Does everyone want to move it 25?
That would be my choice. I don't know about.
Are we talking about just these streets or all these streets we're talking about?
Just Lakeview.
Just
He was-
Lakeview at this time? I mean, my question is, I mean, it's crazy, you got 20, 25, 30, 35, I mean, what? Is it easier to make it one thing flat out in the city other than the?
But you go to any city, it's that way.
Yeah.
I understand, I'm just
But
saying.
I don't believe Jefferson Street was ever built for 25 mile an hour. You know, I don't believe that,
Well,
but
it used to be a state road.
that's true.
Meaning.
So we're talking about Lakeview at this time?
Just like.
Well, I will tell you this.
Just
Yeah,
the-
just
Cox
so-
Street
Just east side, from Jefferson.
Yes.
Do what?
Because it's a school zone. I think Cox Street should be a school zone. And Jefferson, and the mayor and I talked about this too, because the fact is, I mean, you look at Lakeview, and it's a long ways away from CIS, but it's a 20 mile an hour school zone. Well, Jefferson is also a long ways away, but it's at 35, right? 30? 30. I know we've been talking about all these, and I'm confused. So the fact is, I mean, where do you stop? What do you do? I mean, I'm willing to hear anything.
Make them all.
I would vote for them all to be 25 other than school zones personally.
The whole town?
And downtown.
Isn't there signs that,
Yeah, downtown's a
Well,
lot.
yeah.
Bob, isn't there signs that say 25?
It's 27 or posted.
Except for above
25,
Posted.
all over to 25.
what's coming
At
in?
the city limits?
Remington is less too.
Yes.
Remington's 20 or,
I'd say if anything's
15.
20, I would think it's 20 for a reason.
I cannot
Leave it
remember
at
when
20,
they did
anything
15
above
on that. I can't
25,
remember.
reduced to 25. That's what I would.
Then you could
Because
post
it's
coming in
15
down the city
between the
limits,
tracks
it's
on that one,
25
isn't it?
mile there and all the city limits of Centralia.
20.
Between the tracks?
I believe so.
It's already, we already have
Yes,
those.
yes. 15.
all right, it sounds
That
like
starts
we
the
need to do
business
some work
district,
on
I
this
think.
then, if we're gonna reduce everything.
I think that's right. I'm not sure on it, man, but I
Why
think
don't we
that's
bring
Well,
the
here's the deal.
diligence in here and see how
Next
fast
time
the
I have
horse and
somebody
buggy
say, well,
goes, and we'll make them all
somebody's
happy.
gonna go.
Actually, some of them just move on.
And when we do it-
You make the fastest thing on the road, golf cart.
Bob, I've talked to several of these people, and the complaint they're having, they're going 40 and 50 down that road. If they were going 25, like it's supposed to be anyway, they wouldn't have any complaints, but there is,
Okay.
I know, that's.
Hold on. Now, during school hours, and school in session, I believe that. But I've got 8 days of traffic data right there that says that's a lie.
Well, you put.
98% of them are going at or below the speed limit on Lakeview.
Why don't we just add some stop signs down Lakeview?
That's not up to me.
Stop signs are not used
No.
for speed control
Well, that would
Well,
by
I
the
mean-
MUTCD. That is not the purpose of a stop sign. About half our four ways in town do not need
I-
four ways.
Do I
No,
believe
you're
there are
right.
people speeding on Lakeview? Yes, I do believe there are people speeding on Lakeview, but out of 5,700 cars, 98% of them are going at or below the speed limit. That tells you something.
They would be.
The thing that, the people I don't think realize, I didn't realize until, he told me, is that machine, it's measured both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways, so the fact is, I mean, you're getting both ways from it. You're not getting just one way. If you see the radar, that's not the way it measures, it measures from the backside.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious, our
Oh, man.
Oh, so you've been speeding because you thought it didn't work that
You're a statistic,
Okay.
On that borrowed golf cart? Yeah, right.
I will say it's probably a better idea to go ahead and change this before school starts. instead
I
of-
would agree.
Okay. I'll work on it.
Entertain a motion.
What are we changing it to? What are we doing?
We don't know really, but we're gonna do something.
Okay,
No.
I'll be surprised
I
next
think
week,
what we're
okay?
talking about was 25 mile an hour all over town at this point, correct? That's what I
Other than where
understand.
it's already 20.
Other than that, unless otherwise posted slower than that, but it won't be more than that. So you've been
Okay.
warned you're coming down. Is that a problem for you?
No, because the fact is, that's easy. I mean, hey,
Makes it cut and dry, and it does for the people who come to town that aren't from here as well.
I mean, there'll be a grace period for us for everybody, just like when we lowered it on Jefferson there north of the tracks. The fact is, we gave a grace period for 6 months that, hey, but like I said, if you make it 25 all over town besides the school zone, okay. I'm not the speeder anyway.
I have one.
I'm not.
Oh, sure.
I want to wish Mike Forsey a happy birthday today. That's all I got.
Happy birthday, Mike.
I will say the city crew, we'll talk about that later, but it just to get ready to go to the adjournment. They've done a really, really good job. All the departments have done a great job of getting things ready for the campaign and what's going on, a lot of good work going on, and a lot of collaboration and communication. And they're gonna straighten out that one road out there a little bit as you go up past the rec center, which is gonna be very helpful because I think it's a dangerous area out there. So a lot of good things going on, a lot of good work going on in the departments. Just, that's been noticed. I've had a lot of people talking about it to me, saying, hey, so thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We stand adjourned.
I don't know if I'm.
I need
Does
to,
anybody need a break before we start?
I just want to restart the video.
Oh,
I did.
join in.
I want to be.
Don't forget them.
I won't, I'm good.
The heck out of
If
it.
you're out, sure I will.